In this week's episode, I was joined by the guys from Hanley Energy. We had Jade, who is an electrical apprentice, and Cormac, who is the head of talent development. This episode is brought to you with Top Drawer Talent, the supply chain procurement recruitment specialist. Here we go.
Okay, so today I'm joined by the guys from Hanley Energy to discuss their apprenticeship programs. I'm joined by Cormac, who's the head of talent development, and Jade, who is a recent apprentice with Hanley Energy. So, you enjoying your time so far with Hanley Energy?
Absolutely. I have to say it's a job that I extremely love.
Okay.
It's amazing, it's positive, and I go in every morning or every day with a smile on my face.
Okay, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And Cormac, look, who is Hanley Energy? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, so Hanley Energy is a critical power and energy management solutions provider. It's a bit of a mouthful, but what we specialise in doing is taking the power from the main grid all the way to the server racks in data centres. Okay. So it's highly technical. It's not as simple as just plugging in the switch, and it takes a lot of technical people like Jade and our other operations and engineers to build the panels that allow our clients to keep the lights on 24/7.
Okay, and it's important as well now that everything is online.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Data centres up and running.
Exactly. I mean, they say data is the new oil, and we're the ones that are making sure that it keeps flowing for everybody out there on Facebook, on Instagram, or that use it day to day.
Keeping everyone's phones powered with internet. That's the main thing. The storage. Okay, cool. So look, the apprenticeship program that you guys have with yourselves, how many different apprenticeships do you guys hire for?
So primarily we hire electrical apprentices.
Okay.
We hire at all levels. We've got 4 different production facilities across Ireland at the moment. So our headquarters is in Stamullen in County Meath.
Yeah.
It's just 10 minutes north of Dublin Airport, so it's very accessible.
That's good.
We have an R&D facility in Dundalk, and then we've got 2 production facilities. A brand new one actually just opened in Monaghan this year, and then another one in King's Court in Cavan.
Okay.
So we hire at all levels, right from entry level first year apprentices, first, second, third, fourth years through to qualified.
Okay. So you're taking part qualified apprentices on?
Oh
as
yeah,
well?
absolutely.
Okay. Brilliant.
We would be seen as quite an attractive employer because we develop skills that maybe some other employers wouldn't, such as panel building.
Yeah.
And it just gives our apprentices the opportunity to advance once they qualify into they could become full engineers, or down the technician route into sort of field services, out on site commissioning our panels into client data centres.
Okay, brilliant. And applications, you're now accepting applications?
Oh, absolutely.
Is it year round, or is it done at certain times a year?
No, it's year round. It's a constant demand. The apprentice program, because you earn while you learn,
Yeah.
it is very attractive. You spend a certain period in on site with us learning and building the panels. And then you're off to college, to university to actually get the academic side of things. So there are peaks and troughs where we might have a full floor this month, but next month you might find half our apprentices are gone off on placement. So we're constantly recruiting so that we don't have those dips.
Those lags. Okay, yeah, that's brilliant. And someone wants to apply, how do they go about applying for a job at Hanley Energy?
Our website,
Okay.
hanleyenergy.com, Indeed, LinkedIn. We're on every social media platform out there.
Okay.
Or just send us your CV to recruitment@hanleyenergy.com and tell us where you want to work, and we'll be in touch.
All right, brilliant. And is there a minimum age requirement before someone can join Hanley Energy?
We do try and influence any apprentice that comes to us who's just completed the junior cert. Say, look, your best option here is stay in school.
Yeah.
Maybe go down the applied leaving cert route. And we're quite happy. In the LCA, they have the opportunity to work 1 day a week in an employer. So we're quite happy to take them on.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Let them get the experience now,
Yeah.
while still staying up to date academically. The electrician apprenticeship program is quite heavy mathematically, and when you get into college, you need to be able to have a certain level of education behind you.
Yeah.
So while you can come in, while Solus will accept you from junior cert, we do try and say, look, give it a couple more years and come see us. We'll take you on as a summer student. We'll take you on during the holidays, let you build up the experience, and when you get your leaving cert, we'll take you on.
Okay.
Occasionally, we do take them before they finish the leaving cert. Some people, academically, it's not for them,
Yeah.
and they want to get out there, and that's no problem. We'll take them on, especially if they have the right type of a fit that we look for.
Yeah, or aptitude or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I left school when I was 16 for an apprenticeship as a plumber. The reason I didn't complete the apprenticeship, I didn't actually understand the opportunity that I had, and I was just dead set I wanted to join the army, right? So that's why I ended up going down that road. But look, it worked out well for me in the end. So, but do you find that, you know, guys that are coming out of school when they're a bit younger, you know, haven't completed the leaving cert, that they actually, when they secure a job with a company like Hanley Energy, who's a, you know, a global player now in the electrical market, that they don't understand the opportunity that they've got.
They don't appreciate the opportunity. You're right.
Okay.
We treat all our staff like adults.
Yeah.
Now, if you have someone joining you who's 16, they're not an adult, and they do need their hand held. And while we do buddy up all our apprentices with a more senior apprentice or a qualified electrician, it is a workplace. The whole opportunity that's available with being an electrician or taking an apprenticeship is, after 4 years, you're qualified.
Yeah.
You have a qualification that allows you to travel the world. It allows you to read. You can go into business yourself. It's one of the few qualifications. You come out the door, qualified electrician. You can set up your business and start earning for yourself straight away, which is amazing. I mean, how many degree courses can you do that with?
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, well, that's it. And that's something that we really try and get across when we meet students at transition year or in our early careers function, that, you know, don't be afraid of taking a trade.
Yeah.
That it really is. Years gone past, it was almost looked down on. You know, you go to third level. How are you going to survive? Like, I know it wasn't an option or it wasn't an opportunity I was spoken to about by our career, by my career guidance teacher. And something, looking back at it now, I would have loved it. I'm very technically orientated. I love to use my hands while I work, and I probably would have looked absolutely at an electrical apprenticeship as being a huge opportunity for me.
Yeah, definitely. Would you not go back now and give it a go? No.
If I didn't have a family, I would
definitely consider it.
But we regularly get contacted by mature people, who like that. You know, maybe their current work has dried up, or they've hit the ceiling, and they're going, you know, I need a change. I need something to do. It is a step down for when you're in first year with the salary.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is tough, and that's why it suits people who are maybe still living at home or have the support from home to get through the first year or two. But then it gets very, very affordable, and your ability to earn afterwards is huge.
I feel that after maybe second year, it becomes extremely attractive. When you're talking about the rate of pay.
Yeah.
And as well, on top of that, the experiences that you gather as well, because life's not all about money.
No.
It's what you learn along the way.
Yeah.
So the experiences that come with it, they're valuable, not just even, I'm going to say, in Ireland, but they're valued all over the world.
Across the world, yeah. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to get the apprenticeship and I'm bouncing to Australia kind of thing, you know, they're gone. So it is. Look, you know, you come out of college, right? You go to college for 4 years, right? You're probably working a part-time job in Starbucks or whatever, or in a restaurant, and you're going through all the study, and you're not guaranteed a job at the end of it. Whereas with the trade, you know, you've got the trade, you're earning where you're learning, and then, you know, in 4 years' time, you can actually go out and set up your own business. Like, that's the benefit of it. But back to the whole Hanley Energy thing, right? So once someone applies for the job with Hanley Energy, what's the interview process then they're going through to secure the job? Yeah,
so we operate what we call a sort of a talent pool. Okay. So when someone applies into us, they'll say, look, I'm living in Dundalk. I want to go work in your Dundalk facility. So we'll put them into our talent pool for Dundalk. Okay. And when our production manager, Connor, says, look, I need 2 apprentices for the next couple of weeks, we'll go back, we'll look at see who's available, and we'll send them across the list. The CV, certain things we look for in the CV is, you know, ideally what level of education they've completed. Yeah. Have they done any part-time work with us or elsewhere previously? Yeah. We love to see people who have that work ethic. So maybe they're working in retail part-time on the weekend, or, you know, they're working for their parents or the family on the farm. Yeah. That just shows they know what hard work is.
The hard work, yeah.
We don't recruit for anything specifically, or we don't search for anything specifically on CV. When it gets through to the interview, it's about how you'll fit into the team and how you fit into the company ethos.
Yeah. Okay, so hiring for attitude.
Yes.
Is there, psychometric testing then, or like a
Not-
practical assessment, or is it just like 1 or 2 rounds of interviews, like
Single
face to
round.
face?
It's it is a very
So
relaxed,
quick.
informal interview with the production manager.
Okay.
Occasionally he'll bring in a team lead. We're always trying to give our current staff the opportunity to grow. So we'll include team leads in interviews so that they understand the interview process themselves. So when they step up to be production managers, they're comfortable in that role.
Okay.
But it's a straightforward conversation. Especially with the first year apprentice, I mean, they've got no practical experience, so there's no point in doing a practical assessment saying, all right, go wire this plug, or,
Yeah.
you know, tell us what these wires are in this panel. Occasionally, maybe with the older, more qualified apprentices, your third or your fourth years, it's good to understand what their ability is, but there isn't a practical test that they would take.
Okay, that's brilliant. And Jade, why did you decide to become an electrician and then join Hanley Energy?
I actually have a background in retail.
Okay.
So I knew I didn't want to work in retail.
Yeah.
I kind of felt that I was I wanted more
Yeah.
out of my life and out of my career. I did not want to have a career in retail. And a career is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So I was lucky to attend an interview with a company in the similar line of work as Hanley Energy.
Okay.
And I was extremely lucky that this company had taken me on, and they had opened up the doors for me to experience I'm going to say experience kind of life in the industry.
Yeah.
It opened my doors to wiring, so that's the department I was in. I got a feel for the wiring. I was, after I think 4 weeks, I'm going to say, I was reading schematics, and I was
Okay.
reading them confidently.
Right.
Of course, still questions here and there, but I was reading them confidently. And to see my progress in that kind of 3-4 week time frame,
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like this. I shocked myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wanted more of it. I was hungry.
Yeah.
I was extremely lucky to have kind of seen the opportunity for Hanley Energy when I did. As the company had kind of was up and coming. I made the application online,
Okay.
and I believe it was, I think, 2 days or 3 days after I had
So
put in,
pretty quick.
pretty quick, I had gotten a phone call asking was I available for an interview. I said, absolutely, jumped at the chance.
Did Cormac interview you, did he?
No.
No.
I absolutely jumped at the chance.
Okay.
I attended my interview, and from a first-hand experience, it was extremely laid back.
Right.
It was like just so casual.
Okay.
This spoke to me, as Cormac said, like an adult. I was treated like an adult.
Yeah.
And from there, I actually can't remember, the time frame between my interview and
Getting the job.
getting confirmation. I think I got somewhat confirmation at the interview.
Okay, yeah. That's a good sign.
Obviously a very good sign. So yeah, it kind of came from there that I had gotten the apprenticeship.
What was the educational background like going in? Like, did you complete school? Did you do leaving cert?
I
Did you go to
completed
college?
school, and I was lucky enough to go to a secondary school where, from first year to junior cert, you could pick a certain amount of extracurricular subjects. I didn't go into the typical, I'm going to say, kind of what my friends were going into.
Yeah.
My friends were going into home ec or whatnot. I wanted to do woodwork.
Okay.
I did woodwork, and I was one of the only girls in the class. I also did tech graphics.
Brilliant.
I have always had a hunger for mechanical, electric, and anything that
Anything
wasn't a
practical,
typical
yeah.
kind of job. I always wanted to be outside of the standard. So I had gotten a feel for those subjects, and I was extremely lucky to have a teacher who was very supportive, extremely supportive, and pushed me all the way. So far that after my junior cert, he had approached me and asked me to step up to not tech graphics, but it was DCG.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's design communication graphics.
Okay.
I had jumped at the opportunity, and I had actually gotten to work on softwares that Hanley Energy would use for designing their products today. So like I said, I was lucky that in a way my teacher could kind of see my
See it,
future
yeah.
and pushed me towards it,
That's brilliant that the teacher seen that.
Absolutely.
I have to ask, right?
Go for it.
Because you're a female, did you feel like that wasn't possible for you when you're in school, or did you kind of know that that's what you're going to do and that was it?
See, I also did physics.
Okay.
which of course electrical work is heavily,
maths.
relation to physics. In sitting in physics classes, it was myself and my best friend. We were the only two girls in the class.
Okay.
I actually dropped out of physics, but I stayed in the classroom to pick up on the knowledge.
pick it up.
I wasn't confident enough to sit the Leaving Cert exam,
Okay.
but I was confident enough to sit in the classroom and still take notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I felt that, not that I could never do it,
Yeah.
but when.
Okay.
It was more a question of when. When am I ready to make that decision?
And is there female qualified trades in Hanley at the moment? Or?
And Jade is one of the few. We are actively out there trying to attract
Female apprentices.
young women into the apprentice route. Not just the apprentice, but also into the engineering and the other technical aspects.
This whole
as well.
STEM kind of.
Well, that's it. I mean, each of our locations has schools based in or around the area, and we're working very closely with them at the transition year level. So at transition year they've done the Leaving Cert. They should have a rough idea of where they want to go with their career, and we're trying to talk to them and say, don't be afraid to go do physics. Stay in maths, stay in the scientific subjects. An apprenticeship is not a boys' club.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities, especially the STEM. And I have two daughters myself. I would love either of them to take an apprenticeship because of the experience that we get and the doors it opens for them. And I think that's a route that's been closed off for too long.
Yeah. And just for anyone that doesn't know, STEM is science, technology, engineering and maths.
Yeah.
And there's a big push in the industry to get more females into those type of jobs. I think, we're seeing in my agency, we do procurement and IT, but we're seeing a lot more. We actually placed more women into higher paying jobs in 2023 than men. So it's big push on the female side of things, which is brilliant to see.
Absolutely, that's amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, the diversity, equality, inclusion piece is key for Hanley and something that we're really concentrating on. We want to make sure that we don't get stuck in that rut of reproducing and replicating the same type of person over and over again.
Yeah.
You need to bring something different. You need a different point of view to problems, and that's what keeps us competitive, is that diversity that's in our workforce.
Yeah, I actually have a friend that's ex-Defence Force as well, working in Microsoft, and we were chatting. Obviously, we had him on the podcast a while back, but he was saying I was saying do you work with many veterans or ex-soldiers? He's saying it'd be great to work with ex-veterans, but you want people from different places to give different opinions to be able to solve different problems, and that's what I suppose. Bringing people from all backgrounds.
That's it. Otherwise, you just create an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And you don't solve the problem; you just complicate it.
Yeah.
So you need that different point of view.
Yeah, brilliant. And do you remember your first day on site with Hanley, or what was it like?
Do I remember my first day? I do actually. It was it was extremely chill.
Okay.
Walking in, doors were opened, and my team. I have to mention my team here.
Okay.
They were so welcoming. So, come on in, have a cup of tea, the door's open, how are you, where'd you come from, who are you? They were so encouraging and just made me feel so comfortable to be around.
Yeah.
I was approached by the production manager in Dundalk, who at the time work wasn't overly heavy at the time,
So
like it is now, he approached me and he was unsure of kind of what to do with me.
Okay.
So he got the Kanban. So the Kanban would be a setup of your nuts, your bolts for anything that's needed, basically. And he had asked me to fill it.
Okay.
So I was left with a pallet full of boxes. Now I was happy out. The boys let me connect to the Bluetooth speaker and I played a bit of Phil Collins. I was delighted.
Happy days.
And I got no complaints too. So
Happy.
put my head down and just kind of not so much did as I was asked, but I was happy to be there.
Yeah,
and I think any job they had have asked me on my first day, I would have said absolutely, yeah, no problem.
Okay, that's good. And you're there in 6 months?
Correct.
How have you found kind of the first kind of 6 months on site, as an electrical apprentice? Has it the learning's been good? Or?
Every day is a school day.
Okay.
I was talking about this on the way up here. Every day is a school day, and every day I'm going home with new knowledge. Like I can't speak enough about the support that I have there.
In there.
You know, it's life at Hanley Energy is just amazing, and it's so encouraging. And like I said, it's an open door policy. But yeah, every day is a school day, and I find I can see progress in myself since I have started.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't even know why an earth cable was an earth cable.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
and
now you know.
And now I know, and you know, it's picking up on small things every day, and it's collectively gathering that and holding on to that information.
Okay.
So 6 months on site has been absolutely amazing. I haven't hit college yet.
Okay.
I have recently received notes off of my coworker,
Right.
who is I'm extremely grateful for giving me the first year notes.
Yeah.
So I've recently sat down and started going through
across
those notes to give myself a head start on what is coming up.
That was the next question I had for you, right? So let's say, obviously, look, 6 months into an apprenticeship, you probably don't know that much, right? But if, you know, when you learn something during the day, like, what are you doing? Are you going home then and looking up notes, looking at YouTube videos on how to word different things, or looking at the names of different things in the evenings? Or
Absolutely. So I find in Hanley Energy, they have an amazing opportunity there to learn wiring when it comes to data centers and panels.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I do feel, however, there is a small lack in on-the-job learning domestic wiring.
Okay.
And kind of the domestic, you know, side of electrical work.
I get you.
So what I do there is, I do go home and I do, you know, I've heard of some of my coworkers have ran their own business in domestically wiring.
Ah, okay.
Having spoken to these guys and picking up on stuff from them, who to watch on YouTube and where to find the information that I'm looking for.
Okay.
You know, again, extremely helpful in pointing and leading me the direction I want to go. You know,
Yeah, because it's probably the same, right? So I know when we had the guys in that were plumbers, they were like fitters, they were like more welders. They'd go into a raw building, and they're specialised, like mechanical engineers more so than actual plumbers, because they're welding the pipes together. I suppose you're probably specialising in electrical data centres as opposed to like the domestic.
But that's it.
And there's different trades that specialise in different things.
We're very much more industrial than domestic.
Yeah.
But the one thing that Jade touched on there was the community that the apprenticeships build together.
Yeah.
Like the relationships that she's making now with her colleagues and her teammates stick with her for years. You look at our co-founders, Dennis and Clive, when they started off as apprentices together donkeys years ago in Dundalk, and tic-tacked back and forth until they came together to set up Hanley Energy. So it really is. It's a community that she's entering into, and it's a community that we're really trying to foster.
Yeah, especially I think when the feedback is when you go to like college, you be mixed in with a couple of different companies, and you'll make friends there, and you'll be calling those guys up saying, "Hey, I have this problem. How do I fix it?" And they're kind of talking to you on the phone when you do so.
Absolutely, I even see my coworkers to this day, you know, might run into an issue, you know, who will refer back to their friends from college, you know, and. It's extremely humbling to see, and it's really nice, you know.
Yeah, it's good. Are you based on site, like in the one location for your whole 6 months, or are you moving around to different sites then as well?
So, yes, the guys are. So, Jade would be in Dundalk, and will be based out of Dundalk for the majority of her time. Yeah. We are trying to develop a program where we move our apprentices, or a portion of our apprentices, around the different locations, so they get access to the different types of panels that we build, just so it's diversity of thought within our own workforce.
Yeah.
And it means that if there's a sudden surge in one type of panel that's needed, we can mobilise people out of Dundalk or Stamullen and send them up to Monaghan to do it. The difficulty there is Dundalk to Monaghan is quite a distance. Yeah. And you wouldn't want someone spending 6 months travelling back and forth.
No.
So there's that side of things. We do have a site-based team that goes out and is in the client site themselves. Okay. They typically we wouldn't have first years in that. They'd be slightly older, slightly more mature, and would have a more in-depth knowledge as to what the wiring is needed before the panels come in and are installed and commissioned.
Okay, yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, some apprenticeships are different, but do you have to do a shop run on site at the moment?
I was surprised when I actually had received the email from Cormac about, just maybe some of the questions that might come up.
Yeah.
This was a question that actually surprised me because I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, is that a task for some people?
Yeah,
I'm-
definitely is.
I've never been sent on a coffee run. I've never
Okay.
been sent on a shop run. I've been sent for glass hammers.
Yeah,
I've
A long wait.
yeah, a lot, yeah.
the long way.
They're tricks of the book that
Yeah.
they're old,
Yeah.
I was aware enough to say, oh, hold on a minute now, but yeah, certainly definitely never a coffee run.
Yeah. It'd be common if you're on like a building site to do
Yeah.
a shop run, and look, apprentices that get it wrong, get in the neck. Yeah, it doesn't be a fun time. I remember having to do it for like 20 people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Jesus.
I've been stuck behind people like you in the queue for the
Yeah.
deli with the 20 rolls.
People think, oh, I'm next in line. Next one you get 50 in wraps made. It's a
Exactly.
nightmare.
We actually, I need to give a mention to this because we have a state of the art coffee machine
Yeah.
in
Okay.
our break room. So that thing gets used daily. It's
It's one of it is
Perks of
actually,
the job.
Well, it's one of the benefits that we sell when we're
Yeah.
talking to candidates.
Yeah, put it on the job spec.
It is on the job spec. It's on the
Okay, there
job
you go.
spec. It's on our walls. It's one of our values. It's Dennis, our owner. He's a man that likes his coffee,
coffee.
and he's got a very fancy coffee machine outside his office.
Okay.
But he shares the love with the rest of the units, and everybody's got you've got lattes and cappuccinos all through a very very
State
fancy
of the
machine.
art.
It's fancy.
Yeah. I'm telling you, and it gets used.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd say so. I said it's murder if it runs out. of coffee.
oh yeah.
The one in Stamullen went down a couple of weeks ago, and you'd swear someone had died in the shop. People wandering around looking like, we have to go to Circle K to get coffee. It's like, we can't use the instant that's there. There's hell.
There's murder going on. Grand. And how long is someone normally waiting then, right? Once they're in the door, they got the apprenticeship, they've done a couple of months. How long are they waiting then before they're called to like the first phase of college?
So when the process is, someone applies into us, they're interviewed, they're offered, and they start. So then when they start with us, they have to go and register with Solus as an apprentice.
Yeah.
So for some people, it could be 6 months, 9 months before they get called. We've had cases where someone has registered and has been called the following week. So it can
okay.
happen that quickly.
Yeah.
It really depends where the different spaces are and where they come available.
Right.
You can, if it doesn't suit you, and because everybody is living their own lives, so there might be times where it doesn't suit you to go on placement. You can defer it, or you can swap it with another apprentice. We always try we always facilitate the placements first off, but we always try and if the candidate or the apprentice is saying, I've got XYZ coming up, so it really it's worth going on the placement because that's how you progress.
Yeah.
And if you keep deferring it, it's just going to get harder and harder to do.
Yeah, because you're probably getting a lot of the foundational knowledge then.
That's it. You can't progress building the panels for us if you don't know what the next step is.
Yeah, yeah. But is there not you don't make apprentices go through like a 6 months probationary period or trial period before you actually put them through college? It could actually happen within.
Oh, it could happen. No, absolutely. Now there is a probationary period with every
Yeah.
new employee. 6 months is standard.
Yeah.
But the contract that the apprentices get is an academic contract.
Okay.
And it makes an allowance for that. They're still Hanley Energy employees when they're out in placement.
When speaking just about the time frame, when I had started my employment with Hanley Energy, I had started alongside a guy who was completing his apprenticeship actually elsewhere, joining into the company.
Yeah.
However, he was out of work, I believe, for 6 months between his last job and starting in Hanley Energy, still registered as an apprentice. I was lucky to know this guy before I actually had started. We both walked in on our first day, headed off, and I believe it was a week or 2 weeks after we had started, he had gotten a phone call to say, listen, you were called, there was an emergency placement. We live in Dundalk. This poor guy had to go to Tralee with a week's notice.
Yeah.
So within that week, he had to find accommodation. He had to find, travel details and...
Yeah.
There's a whole network they can tap into.
Yeah.
So there's apprentices that have been there, done that, and they say, look, these are the numbers you call. These are the places that you can get a room or, Johnny in Tralee, he looks after any of the apprentices that come along. So
B&B,
reach out to him. Exactly.
That's what I was going to say. Like, it was extremely accommodating
Yeah.
for this guy. Hanley Energy had given him all the resources there to say, look, there's digs here, there's people here. You know, you could, you know, Hanleys were extremely helpful in helping this guy to go and continue his apprenticeship.
Yeah. If let's say someone's based in Dundalk and they get placed in Athlone for the academic side of it, is Hanley covering the cost of accommodation, or is that on their own back?
We do our best to support them.
Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, just given the numbers
Yeah.
that of apprentices that we have gone through it's a bit prohibitive to support everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we would probably take it on a case by case basis. We would never want to see someone fail or decline their placement because of issues like that. So we would always see how we can help. It may not be monetarily. It may be that we look to jig their shifts around, or maybe they go as a GO for a while, or we'll come up with an option.
Yeah.
But it would be on a case by case basis as well.
Yeah, just fair enough.
Yeah.
And the amount of apprentices that you take on compared to the amount of apprentices that finish their time, does there be much of a drop off in the ones that you guys directly hire with no experience?
I was trying to get these stats before I came down.
Yeah, no, you're okay.
And I think in the last year, there's only been 2 apprentices that we didn't offer full-time permanent employment to when they completed their apprenticeship.
Okay.
So that would be the guts of about 25, 30 electricians that have joined us.
Yeah.
I think those 2 one went travelling in Southeast Asia, and the other one went to Australia. And the one that went to Australia, we're actually reaching out to him now to see if he would join our Australian office, because there could be opportunity there for him.
Yeah, yeah. So once you complete your apprenticeship in Ireland, you can head off to Australia or the US if that's open to you.
A great example is one of our apprentices, James. He was actually up for Apprentice of the Year a couple of years ago. He did his full apprenticeship with Hanley. During COVID, he really used the opportunity to upskill himself in terms of taking all the sort of the side courses that you can.
Yeah.
To the point where one of our clients, a huge client, said, we want James to train our technicians. And James was a 3rd-year apprentice at this stage. He wasn't even qualified.
See, that says a lot, yeah.
When he qualified, straight away they said, we want him. They are building a massive data center site in Ohio, and they said, we want James out there. And James is now out there leading a team of technicians. Like, huge opportunity.
Yeah, brilliant. That's one of the few companies that offer the opportunity to travel once you complete your apprenticeship and stay with the same company and probably keep same kind of benefits and everything
that's
else.
it. Obviously there's localization when you go to these
move,
different countries.
get geographical salaries, all that kind of
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
But I mean, all his time served carries with him.
It keeps. Oh, it's brilliant. And I suppose, what advice now would you give to like a female that's considering an apprentice? What advice would you give them like that?
I was actually really hoping you would ask that question, because if I could go back and talk to myself 5 years previous to now, oh my God, I have so much to say.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say is that there is a perception out there that any trade is quite physical, and I'm here to say that is not the case.
Okay.
Don't be put off. I would hate for any young, speaking to a young female audience here, I would not want any female to be put off because of the thought of it's extremely physical. It's not. It's oh my God, like I have so much to say on this, and now I'm pulling a blank.
Yeah, you're fine. I suppose it's mainly probably don't discount it as an option.
Absolutely.
Seriously consider it.
I would like to touch on kind of a personal story here.
Yeah.
So when I was 17 years old, unfortunately, I had suffered a stroke.
Oh, okay.
And I remember in the hospital bed, and I was going for a walk in the hospital for physio.
Yeah.
They had asked me to put my shoes on. I sat with my mum and I forgot how to tie my shoelaces. I did not know. And to me, that was devastating.
Yeah.
I had worked on myself, and to now be where I am, to be wiring panels from start to finish, to take a step back and see, oh my God, 5 years ago, I could not tie my shoelaces. Now I'm wiring a panel.
Yeah.
I would like to say that if I can do it, believe me, any man, woman, child, young or old can do it.
Yeah, it's a brilliant story.
It's doable, and there is support out there, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from. Hanley Energy are the most supportive company I have ever come across.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. It's good story. Thanks for sharing. Jeez, you've been through the mill. Okay, brilliant. Where do I take it now? Okay, Grant, look, that's brilliant. That 5 years, like some journey that you've been on. Jeez. And I suppose, was it always something, like, I know you had the job when you'd done for 4 weeks in the war, and was like an apprenticeship always, like, I know you done the subjects, but was it always something that you wanted to do? Like, and was it the electrical apprenticeship, or was it just an apprenticeship in general?
An apprenticeship was always something I did want to do, and I had been kind of in and out, looking at apprenticeships online since I had finished school and finished my leaving cert. However, I was never brave enough to make that application, to make that jump and say, oh, that's what I want to do. I was extremely indecisive in, well, do I want to do this or do I want to do that? It was when I had gotten the experiences with a company in the similar field that I had realised, wow, this is enjoyable. It's, you can physically watch your progress. When you're wiring something, you can see how it's coming along. You know yourself whether it's good or bad. If you have cables tangled up in a mess and what I like to call a nest of cables, you got to go sort that out to see that become neat and everything comes together. It flows. Yeah. And then to reach the next stage and to see your coworkers testing your work and to come back with feedback and say, look, this X, Y, and Z was really good. You could work on a couple of things here. You're constantly getting that feedback, and you constantly know, I need to work on this or I need to work on that. Yeah. There's no guesswork, and there's no, oh, well, I don't know what to do now. Yeah. There is always something to work on, and there's always something to improve on, and I can't say enough, there's always support there to help you, always.
All right, brilliant. And Irish Rail, or just in before you guys, right? They do like try a trade day. Yeah. I know you mentioned like summer jobs or whatever, or internships. Do you guys do anything like that then for someone, especially like for the females that are interested?
Yeah, what we're actually looking to do is to set up a series of open days where we invite the public in to see a panel being wired, to actually see, to give it a go themselves. Yeah. What we're working with in our early careers funnel is getting people, getting students to look at us as a summer employer. Each of our facilities at the moment is taking between 3 and 5 summer students, and the idea is that they'll come back to us next summer, and then they'll come back to us as apprentice, and they'll be 2 steps ahead of the straightforward first year apprentice, because they've been in the situation, they've been hands-on wiring it, they've been standing next to Jade, watching her do it and handing her the bits and pieces she needs, and that's how you find the love for it. But definitely, not so much. We probably won't try a trade for a day, but we'll have an open event, and type of thing. If they like what they see, we'll sit down and we'll be doing interviews and offers on the day. Yeah.
Do you think there was back in the day then as well, like, and compared to now, like that there was maybe a stigma around taking an apprenticeship?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the nowadays the base level for most jobs is a degree, and that's because it's so achievable for everybody. We don't have to pay huge fees like they do in the States, and it was seen almost as being, oh, you couldn't do a degree, well so you went and did a trade, whereas it's the electricians that are keeping your lights on, it's the plumbers that are keeping the water flowing. Like without the trades, everything will grind to a halt. And it shouldn't. Maybe it was because they're out in building sites and was seen as a dirty job, and like we've all worked in building sites, we know how dirty they can be. But it's moved away from that. I mean, our production floors are spotless. You could eat off the floor in them because quality is so high. These are going into data centers, which are the next best thing to clean rooms in pharma. Yeah. They have to be absolutely spot on, and that's why there's constant feedback, all the levels down. So when Jade wires it and it goes on for testing, they'll come back and the feedback will always be, excellent job on this bit, this needs to be better, because our client demands better, and we have to provide that better. We have to keep that quality high.
Yeah, it's a best in class service. That you
Oh,
guys are
absolutely,
providing, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
If our quality drops, the clients will quite happily go somewhere else that will do what they need done.
Yeah, and the cloud goes down.
It's a cutthroat business like that,
Yeah.
though, that if you make a mistake, it could be detrimental, not just that. And I'm speaking as an electrical apprentice. If I make a mistake and cross my phases, when that panel goes to test, I know I could potentially harm my coworkers.
Yeah.
And of course, nobody wants to see that. So safety is always first, that and quality. Quality always goes into our products.
And it's
Speaking from first hand, you see it.
Yeah.
The production manager will walk along the floor, and if he sees, loose cable lying around, or you're out with the Hoover.
Yeah.
I've seen guys who, I'm sure their wives would love to know how many times they take the Hoover out of the press.
You're telling tales on them now. You're gonna get them
Absolutely,
into trouble.
but it is we take pride in
Yeah.
our work.
Okay, yeah. Which is, look, that's just the way it has to be. It's high voltage stuff, right? So
Yeah.
it's absolutely no joke.
No,
So
absolutely
it has
not.
to be taken serious. And look, once someone gets the trade and they're on site, what's the working hours?
Well, when you're actually physically on site with a client, you're there until the problem is solved, or until the panel is installed and commissioned. We've got a couple of different working patterns for our production facilities.
Yeah.
You 7:30 to 4, is it?
7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Nice.
So attractive.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, honestly.
Half day on Friday though.
Half day on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cushy apprenticeship.
On the last Friday of every month, we get food.
Oh.
We get fed. So yeah,
You got to keep them watered and fed.
yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, majority of our production facilities are 7 to 4.
Okay, that's really good.
Other parts of the business would work different patterns. Myself, for example, 9 to 5:30.
Yeah.
Engineering, they tend to do 8:30 to 4:30. So
Okay.
we're very for production. We can't be flexible because it's set. It's all, every minute is accounted for.
Yeah.
The rest of the business, we're very flexible and we work hybrid options and such.
Okay.
I would also like to touch on that too. That any amount of overtime available.
Yeah.
If
the next one,
if I desire, I know I can work until, as long as there's a safety officer there. I know I can work until as long as he's there.
Okay. Great. So that's because the apprenticeship, right? The rate of pay for year one is quite low, right?
Yeah.
So I remember when I was an apprentice and I was like, you'd be in early and kind of the day be finished at 5, but then we'd be overtime to work till 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I'd always do that, and then I'd probably nearly double my income.
Yeah.
So is that still an option for a year one apprentice with Hanley, or
Oh,
is it
absolutely.
just
We are that
depends?
busy. We're actively out there trying to bring on more bodies. But a first year apprentice will take a good probably 2 or 3 months to get to the point where they could be left alone to do the wiring.
yeah, or set up even for the next day kind of thing?
That's it. So you probably find, and because it's so intensive in learning, they're gonna, their brain will be in a whirlwind for the first couple of months anyway. But after that, there's always overtime there.
Okay.
You do find that kind of it's a very much family attitude that, well, if one person is staying on, oh well, I'll stay on, and then it becomes a ricochet effect of the whole team is staying on. It's very close knit, and things are definitely done in a team, especially when it comes to building panels and switchgear. There could be 3 guys dedicated to one specific panel.
Okay.
And that you trust these guys and you need to work alongside those guys and communicate with them that, right, I'm going to stay on tonight to get X, Y, and Z done.
Yeah.
Are you going to stay on, or would you like to stay on? And most of the time the answers are, yeah, absolutely. If you're staying on, I'll stay on.
Yeah. The overtime rate is good. Why not?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Grant. All right. Yeah, good. I think that's it. Do you guys have anything else? Is there any other roles that you want to mention that you're hiring for?
Yeah, look, at the moment we are that busy. We had an announcement back in Patrick's Day when our founders were over opening our North American head office in Virginia. We announced 150 new jobs. That's 100 into Ireland, 50 into the US.
Brilliant.
We were recruiting across the board. Have a look at our website. Have a look. Go on to LinkedIn or Indeed. They're kept updated by our recruitment system. Or even just reach out to me. Reach out to any of the talent acquisition teams. So my name Cormac. I'm sure I'm be linked on the
We'll
video.
put your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah,
if you want.
absolutely. recruitment at Hanley Energy, or Lorraine Keenan is our another member of the talent acquisition team, we would love to have a chat with you. And it could just be a chat, and you might say, look, I want to go in this direction. I'm not sure what's open to me. And we'll say, yeah.
Okay. And the 4 sites in Ireland, again, what are they?
So head office in Stamullen,
Yeah.
Dundalk, King's Court in Cavan, and Monaghan Town.
Right, perfect. So, yeah, if anyone's interested.
Yep.
send
North East
Cormac
Leinster,
through.
telling you, that's the only place to be.
It's all happening. All right, brilliant, guys. Look, thanks very much. Much
Thank you
appreciated.
very
It was
much.
a great conversation.